You've heard me say it 1,000 or 1,000,000 times. Our dog's behavior is the way they communicate. Behavior is communication. And so when your dogs are barking like mad, pulling you hard, running away when you call, or jumping, mouthing, growling, it's important to remember that they're communicating that there's something going on under the surface for them. And that's the only way they have in that moment to communicate how they feel. Now, maybe it's not the best way to communicate, but there it is. And so when we look under the surface for understanding our dog's behavior, it's good to start with taking a look at their personality traits and sensitivities so that we can open up lines of communication with our dog in a whole new way. That's what we're talking about today. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast. Well, hello, Kathy Kowalik here, and I love that you're spending a few minutes with me today to talk about one of my favorite topics. I love exploring the topic of more deeply understanding our dogs, and ourselves, because one thing that I know to be true is that getting curious about our dog's behavior is a great launch pad to a deeper understanding so that we can break free of the spiral of doubt and difficulty and disconnection that so often happens with our dogs. Now, here's the thing that you hear me say, probably a lot, is that behavior is communication. And since our dogs can't talk it out, they act it out. And when they feel unheard or misunderstood, their behavior escalates from a whisper to a shout. And we not only want them to learn to hear our whispers, but we want to learn to hear our dog's whispers too. Now, so often our dog's behavior triggers negative thoughts and emotions that come up for us because we're judging that behavior as inappropriate. So we might be thinking things like, they should know better, or I've told them 1,000 times, or why are they giving me such a hard time again? Or sometimes we have doubt in ourselves, feeling like I can't do this, or I can't handle this, or where is this going to lead? I hope I'm doing the right thing here, or I just don't know what to do anymore. And it's the same thing for our dogs. Even when they're barking like mad, or pulling you hard, or running away when you call, or jumping, or mouthing, or growling, it's important to remember that they're communicating that there's something going on under the surface, and that in the moment, that's the only thing that they have, the only way that they have of communicating to us how they feel about the current circumstance. Now, granted, maybe it's not the best way to communicate, but that big, loud, exhausting type of behavior from our dogs often happens because we have inadvertently caused our dog to communicate with big behaviors because we haven't noticed their whispers, or we have noticed, but we haven't understood what they're communicating, or we haven't understood how to respond to what they are communicating. And when we look under the surface of I don't know, interpreting our dog's behavior, it's good. It's my recommendation that we start with taking a look at their personality traits so that we can more easily open lines of softer, kinder, easier communication, a dialogue that leads to cooperation with our dogs. All right, makes sense. So that's my approach, and it's an easy and simple thing that we could do that could make such a huge difference in transforming our life with our dog. All right, so let's talk a bit about our dog's personality traits and their personality shadow traits that will show up when we misunderstand them and their behavior and their communication. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about their personality superpowers, and we'll break it down by personality type. All right, we are going to start with the magician fire types. They are joyful, excitable, quick to respond and react, and they are social butterflies. But when they are misunderstood, their shadow personality traits can come out, and magician fire type dogs can become anxious, agitated, frenzied, nervous. Their sensitivities and personality quirks can lead to things like unwanted arousal barking. Well, because they have a lot to say, and because of their social sensitivity, they can be nervous around other dogs and strangers. That can lead to inappropriate greetings like jumping and bouncing. Because they are quick and easily aroused, one of their quirks can be chasing animals and other moving things. Now, due to their passionate nature, they can be relentless when they want something, including pulling you toward something that they want, and they can get FOMO if they think they're missing out on a party or a fun social opportunity. So, let's call their superpower spirited. This means that when we better understand their personality traits, we not only minimize their shadow side from expressing, we nurture their superpower so that they can become confident, passionate about enjoying life, being cooperative, able to take risks in being brave and courageous when asked. They become full of life and inquisitive, and their energy feels good. They love to play and entertain. That's the magician fire dog that we want to see, right? All right, let's talk about the nurturer earth types, which are nurturing, willing, peacemakers, and are slow to respond or react by nature. Now, when they're misunderstood, their personality shadow can express, and they can become worried, stressed, overprotective, needy. Their sensitivities and their personality quirks can lead to things like following you around, becoming worried to leave you alone, getting stressed if anyone in the family is ill, or maybe stressed out because they want everyone to be happy. They're really sensitive to emotional changes in the family. One of their quirks is that they love attention and touch, and can even get pushy about that, not wanting to be left out or left alone. They're also sensitive to feeling pressured about something that is not agreeable to them, causing them to maybe shut down or refuse. And because they have a slow stimulus response, they're going to be slow to respond to requests or cues in certain circumstances. And it's important to embrace this quirk. And their superpower is called devoted. This means that when we better understand them and their personality traits, we not only minimize their shadow side from expressing, but we're nurturing their superpower so they can become more agreeable and patient, more big-hearted, more kind and compassionate, more loyal and predictable, so they could be there for you and be the peacemakers that they are meant to be. All right, let's talk about the organizer or metal types. They are the thinkers, the planners, the order keepers, and they tend to be more reserved. Now, when misunderstood, the organizer type dog's shadow side can express. That means they can become anxious, withdrawn, inflexible, and quite a bit bossy. So their personality sensitivities and quirks can lead to things like getting upset when they believe things are out of order or a routine is not followed. Like if you're supposed to be getting up at 6 a.m., it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, right? And because they notice every little detail and they like orderliness, they will let you know when there's something new or different around. They're sensitive to emotional states, and they'll get anxious if you or a family member is ill or not behaving balanced and normal in their eyes, from their perspective. Now, your organizer dog loves to be the fun police and will do their best to manage you and the others to restore order in the house. And they are sensitive to mistakes, yours and theirs, and shutting down when under pressure from training or performance is likely if we cross that line for them. So their superpower is their persistence. And this means that when we understand their personality traits, we are minimizing their shadow side from expressing, and we are nurturing their superpower so that they can become passionate about life, strong leaders and managers that everyone loves to follow, so that they can thrive on the structure you provide, so we can help them to become the independent thinkers that they are. We can take advantage of their attention to details and nurture their love, their ability to love to learn. They are great at that. And so let's tap into that superpower. All right, let's talk about the sage or water type, who are good listeners, very, very observant of details. They are self-sufficient, quite curious, and very clever. Now, when misunderstood, sage type dogs, and this is their shadow side can express, they could become fearful, timid, suspicious, unforgiving, and quite aloof. So their personality sensitivities and quirks can lead to them being very observant and suspicious of the unknown, and that means they'll often fear bark at something different. Now, one of their quirks is that by nature, they are wary and suspicious of strangers, and no matter how convincing you think you are, they just won't trust your assurances. They need to sort it out for themselves. Their trust must be earned, and that is their nature. And let's remember to give them that space. And, because if we don't, they can be afraid or suspicious for a long time, especially if they feel pressured by us to hurry things along or to not give them the space that they need. Because they're not quick to decide things, they're often not interested in something until they have inspected and accepted. And that applies to everything, even treats, right? And because they tend to be more self-sufficient, they don't easily accept restraint or feeling trapped. They they know what to do, and when they have the time to observe and process, they will naturally create their own alone time, and that means they will hide or move away when wary or unsure. So it's so helpful to understand them, and their superpower is curiosity. This means that when we better understand their personality traits, we're not only minimizing their shadow side from expressing, but we're nurturing their superpower so they can become more empathetic and in tune, imaginative, clever, and intelligent, curious, and attentive, more self-sufficient, and importantly, more resilient. Yeah, that is the water sage type dog that we want to nurture. Okay, lastly, let's talk about our explorer, or also known as the wood type dog. They are strong, assertive, bold, energetic, quick to respond and react. And when misunderstood, explorer type dogs, their shadow side will express as defensiveness, anger, intolerance, and impatience. Now, their sensitivities and quirks can lead to excessive alert and guard barking. They will take charge of the situation, especially if they don't think that you are. They are confident leaders, so being friendly toward dogs or others is always on their terms. You'll find your explorer dog lunging and barking at perceived threats in a strong, bold way when they believe that that is their job, and they will keep at that until that job is done. And so we want to take that into account as we grow our partnership and our loving leadership with these dogs. Now, these dogs are passionate to win. They're competitive, and that can sometimes express as jealous type behavior in the family. And not one to take no for an answer. They can be relentless in pursuing what they want, almost single-mindedly. So let's call their superpower driven. This means that when we better understand their personality traits, we not only minimize their shadow side from expressing, but we're nurturing their superpower so they can become full of energy, inquisitive, adventurous, strong and powerful in a really balanced, wonderful way. We could nurture their love to lead others so that it works well and keeps everyone happy. We can nurture their competitive and passionate traits in a really good way and help them to become confident in their own decisions. That is the kind of explorer wood dog that we want to live with. And that's why we have these dogs in our lives, right? All right. So now, one thing to understand is that your dog's personality is expressed primarily as one type. I think of it as their default and primary personality type. That said, it's common to see a strong secondary personality type that expresses regularly in different circumstances. And in addition to these 5 archetypal personality types, your dog, of course, has individual sensitivities and quirks based on their genes, their life experiences, and, of course, their current circumstances. For example, my working border collies are most likely to express primarily as organizer and explorer personalities as their primary or strong secondary type because their genes express a strong desire to control others. They're herding working dogs, right? As well as being natural leaders. Now, individually, they are quite unique, even though the common thread is control and leadership. And so I see, like I'll often have like a wood water personality or a fire metal personality, right? So there's a balance that brings them their unique quirkiness and sensitivities, even though they're all working border collies that love to control and lead in their own way. Okay, so it's time for you to dig more deeply into understanding your dog. So I know this is a lot, and I have made a PDF workbook for you to download, to read through, and there's exercises that will help you to better understand and plan out a great life based on your dog's needs and personality type traits and all of that. So it's called The Ultimate Guide to Understanding Your Dog's Personality, Sensitivities, Quirks, and Exercise Needs. And first, of course, you'll need to know your dog's primary personality type. So discover your dog's personality type. I'll lead you through some questions that will end up with your dog's primary personality type. And then do the simple exercises in that workbook that are guaranteed to transform your life with your dog when you make these simple life changes. You can turn any struggles that you have into cooperation with your dog. Okay, so next step, head over to download the Ultimate Guide. The link for that is dancinghearts.link/guide. That's dancinghearts.link/guide. Go there, download your guide. It's totally free. In the guide, there's the link for the quiz that you could take to determine your dog's primary personality type, and then go back and do the exercises in the workbook. All right, I'm looking forward to hearing your insights from doing this. And one thing I know to be true is that truly understanding your dog changes everything. And that leads to loving wholeheartedly and without condition. It leads to a trustworthy connection and feeling safe and calm and happy for you and your dog. And it leads to growing a cooperative and brilliant life together. Okay, so and I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, be brilliant. Bye-bye for now. Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.